So look, right? Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale is dropping an album in what, a week and a half? Let's just say 9 days, right? He's dropping an album very, very soon, May 13th, 2022. And I think many people are excited about what we might hear, myself included, obviously. I know I said Future had album of the year. Kendrick, I'm sorry. All right? You're going to have to prove me wrong. I'm making this video because after seeing this image, I'm very, very interested in the idea of a double Kendrick Lamar album. Now, number one, we've never gotten a double Kendrick anything when it comes to albums, okay? Everything's been a solo record, a solo release. And when I think of double albums, I think of the very best, okay? And the very best double album to me of all time as it pertains to hip hop, probably All Eyes on Me. Not only for nostalgia, but replayability, still just as playable now as it was back then. There's just too much to appreciate about a record like that for me to look at any other double album released in this genre and not immediately think of this one first. Before we get to the possibility of a double album, looking at this picture alone, let me psychoanalyze this photo, all right? The carpet looked like Black family carpet, all right? That already give me a decent vibe. If you look at the reflection, it's white brick on the side. What does that tell you? Kendrick is either going to school and he's now performing as a professor for other college students and he's in a dorm, or the more likely that he might be backstage performing for a potential event. He's in the studio. Look at his shoes, okay? Look at his shoes. He don't give a fuck, all right? That means he got album of the year. He's legit dressed like Michael Myers. He about to kill the rap game. That's what this photo means to me. But on a serious note, if we just look at the discs and we look at the book says Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers from Kendrick Lamar. There is enough content within this book to fill up 2 albums, I would assume, okay? Verses don't take that long unless the concept is something that we literally need to speculate about and read about before we hop into the album. Kendrick is also no stranger to multi-perspectives. We've seen him do this on How Much a Dollar Costs. We've seen him go into multiple perspectives on The Black or the Berry. We've seen and heard him tackle very heavy issues, very heavy subject matter. And a lot has happened in the last 5 years that most people expect him to cover, myself included. I realize how pointless it is speculating on the concept of what this album could be because we have no idea what he could be talking about. But when you see something like this in terms of a book in someone's hand based off of an album that they're now selling, it's intimidating. This isn't just music. This is literature. This is enough content that's worthy of you writing about it. It's heavy, it's thick, it's robust. Just the thought of having 2 discs is so foreign to me. I haven't held an album that was a double in decades. I also want to point out, this is how you do it. This is how you get people excited for a record. You build your reputation over years. It's nothing that you can get off of a quick little, hit single or a hit song. To have people this invested into what you have to say, even though your album is coming out in a few days anyway. It's what happens when you put your all into what you do and think so carefully and passionately about. On the other hand, it also breeds a really different group of people that I already know once this album does get released will assume that there are cheat codes within the album itself. Or you gotta listen to track 3 on volume 96 to be able to hear this backwards message that's in the chorus at number 2. I would assume Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers goes into some type of story, some type of narrative, some type of concept, to the point where he could legitimately sell a book off of it. Look at his hands, okay? Steppers, master copy. Morale, master copy. At first, I thought that said Stepper underneath that first disc. Now, does this indicate a potential double album? Of course. But there's also a unique possibility that Kendrick Lamar may be so confident in the musical palette for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers that he is willing to separate the instrumentals and the live band, the live performances from the Steppers onto their own disc, onto their own copy, and allow himself and the Steppers on another copy. So he may, in fact, just instead of releasing an album that is so full that he has to have 2 albums or a double album in order to release it all, it might just be the Steppers live version and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers album version. And that would explain the double disc thing that we're seeing right now. I think that's more likely the scenario, but I can't destroy the possibility that that could be a thing. I'm not going to act like, this couldn't still be a separate narrative or a separate album told. I don't know if the Big Steppers are going to include vocalists. I don't know if it's just them playing instruments. I don't know how heavy of a role they play in the concept of the record itself. I know that we are getting a Kendrick Lamar single featuring Anderson .Paak coming out the end of tomorrow, May 5th. This just in, I've been trolled. This new information that I'm giving you about this potential Kendrick Lamar single featuring Anderson .Paak is fake. I'm a clown. I believed it. They rickrolled me. They got me. I'm assed out. I'm been exposed. This is a bad feeling, and I hope your day isn't going as shitty as mine, because I thought a single was coming tomorrow and it's not. And now I just look stupid. Now, going back to the book itself, I personally think that a book isn't necessary to basically recite the verses of the songs. Okay, you might be better off going with a pamphlet. You might be better off going with like a couple page attachment. Even listing them off in the album credits would be more justifiable than having a book necessary for simply verses in a record. The fact that there is a book attached means that there is far more content to this album than a likely 12 to 15 tracks. Now, not entertaining the idea of a double album from Kendrick, it would be extremely amazing if we could play Steppers, if it is what I think it is, as an instrumental backdrop while reading the book. What I just had a thought about is the potential for Steppers to be narrating the book. And if the content within this book is as broad as this book seems to be in size, a separate disc used as a narrative tool for the book could be justifiable. I know for a lot of niggas, if Kendrick Lamar releases a book with his album, this will be your first time reading ever. W. Kendrick for supporting education. Issue with having double albums is that you have so many gaps to fill. A double album for artists could be a massive success story, or it could end up feeling like you're taking someone who used to live in a 1-bedroom apartment and use their furniture to fill up a place that's 4,000 square feet now. You could have that all eyes on me success story where the content on your record is felt and heard throughout, and you've got bangers after bangers and hits for years. Or you could end up feeling like you're that one person that's trying to spread yourself and your possession in a mansion, essentially. We all heard Drake when he did the side A and the side B portions of Scorpion. That album was way too big for Drake, and he didn't end up having enough content to fill up the whole thing to make it interesting from start to finish. But I have way more faith in Kendrick's ability to create some kind of concept or follow a narrative from point A to point B. So I'm very excited about what this could potentially mean. I know off the rip, off the muscle, we're probably immediately going to get something conceptual, which I don't have a problem with. Content. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see from Kendrick. So, count down the days. All right, we got what? 9 days left. 9 days until this Kendrick Lamar album, and then we all get to see greatness.